Grief is a complex, messy thing. It's not just the aftermath of death, it's the ache of an unsaid goodbye, the slow fading of someone who used to be everything, the heaviness of love you're no longer allowed to hold. And in BL storytelling, some dramas don't just acknowledge that pain, they live in it. Today, we're revisiting BL dramas that deeply understood grief, loss, and letting go. These aren't just love stories, they're emotional mirrors. And if you've ever been through something that changed you, you'll feel seen here. This coming-of-age drama is about friendship, first love, and the kind of grief that lingers long after the last goodbye. Cake and See You grow up side by side, emotionally entangled in that sweet and painful way only teenage best friends can be. Their bond is full of those quiet moments that feel ordinary at the time. Biking home together at dusk, teasing each other during lunch, falling asleep mid-conversation on the phone, but in hindsight they become sacred. It's in those tiny, unspectacular pockets of time where love quietly takes root. But when illness strikes, everything shifts. The world shrinks to hospital rooms and waiting benches, to whispered prayers and held-back tears. The story transforms, from one of soft discovery to one of impending loss. And the grief it explores isn't just about dying. It's about time, about all the moments they thought they'd have. It's about guilt, for words left unsaid. It's about regret, for mistaking friendship as something that could wait, not knowing that time was running out. The hospital scenes are lit with sterile white, but emotionally they are anything but cold. Cake's silent watching, See You's fleeting smiles, the way they pretend things are still normal, it's devastating. Even the smallest gestures, like adjusting a blanket or pouring water, feel enormous in the face of what's coming. There's no grand confession, no dramatic climax. Just a slow unraveling. A quiet surrender to the fact that sometimes love arrives too late, or is never allowed to fully bloom. What makes this drama unforgettable isn't just the tragedy. It's the honesty, the way it doesn't try to soften the blow, the way it lets love exist in a space that includes pain, fear, and finality. And in doing so, it becomes something more than a love story. It becomes a memory, etched in the heart like the echo of a name spoken just once more than necessary. This is a story wrapped in shadow. Grief here is a third character, always present, always watching. A mother who lost her partner, a boy who lost his sense of identity, a man who lost his ability to move on. The cinematography mirrors the emotional state, long takes, dim lighting, slow, pained dialogue. One particular dinner table scene plays like a theatrical breakdown of control. It's not just about love lost, but also about the grief of living under expectations that crush you. It doesn't offer easy answers. It simply sits with the discomfort, and that honesty is brutal and beautiful. This series doesn't treat grief like an explosion. It treats it like erosion, the slow wearing away of connection, the things we don't say until it's too late. Characters drift, not because they stop loving, but because they stop understanding. That's a different kind of heartbreak. There's a moment where two friends, once inseparable, sit across from each other and barely speak. The space between them is vast, filled with things unsaid. It's not a fight. It's worse. It's the emotional numbness of a bond that has quietly died. And yet, that grief is never dramatized. It's just there, lingering. Loss here isn't in the past, it's happening in real time. It's watching someone you care about spiral, and not knowing how to help. The Eighth Sense handles trauma like a wave, unpredictable, powerful, devastating. A scene on the beach where the characters finally open up is filmed with raw, unflinching stillness. The ocean roars in the background, but they speak softly, about guilt, about fear, about the ways they've learned to cope. One looks down, the other reaches out, and in that moment, you realize that grief has made them fragile, but love might make them whole again. On the surface, this drama is cute, bright colors, soft pacing, nostalgic moments. But underneath, there's quiet grief, the kind that forms when friendship fractures and time becomes the enemy. These two leads missed each other for years, and while they reconnect, you can feel the echoes of the past in every moment. When one of them says, "I waited," it's not just a line, it's a confession wrapped in years of pain. The loss wasn't a person. It was time, laughter, inside jokes, and that's a grief we rarely talk about. But this drama does. This story aches with quiet rage, the grief of never being accepted for who you are. One of the most powerful scenes involves a confrontation between a character and his family. He doesn't cry. He doesn't scream. He simply lowers his head, realizing that love won't change the way they see him. That's a unique kind of grief, the death of hope. And when his partner tries to hold him afterward, there's distance. Because even in love, the scars of rejection linger. This isn't about a breakup, it's about the grief of being erased. This is one of the few dramas that turns grief into something spiritual. It asks, what if love lost in one lifetime echoes into the next? The original couple's tragic end is haunting, and the reincarnated lovers carry that trauma like a scar across time. There's a breathtaking scene where one character breaks down at a shrine, remembering a death he never technically lived but still feels. That's the power of inherited grief, when the sadness of the past shapes who we become in the present. And watching them find healing this time around, it's nothing short of cathartic. This is a story of trying and failing to love someone who's still broken. The main character carries trauma like a second skin, flinching from kindness as if it might burn. He struggles with deep emotional scars, unable to fully accept affection because part of him believes he doesn't deserve it. Every smile directed his way feels like a test. Every moment of closeness triggers a quiet panic he doesn't know how to name. One moment stands out. He pushes his partner away after a tender scene, a soft touch, a whispered promise, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much. He's terrified that allowing himself to hope will only end in more pain. That's the thing about unresolved grief. It warps your sense of safety. It makes love feel like a risk you can't afford, a gamble you're convinced you'll lose. And the beauty of this drama is that it doesn't force resolution. It doesn't offer a magical fix or a neatly tied-up redemption arc. Instead, it sits with the discomfort. It gives the character space to hurt, to relapse, to run and return. The partner's patience isn't saintly, it's messy, tired, frustrated, but it's real. There's an unspoken understanding. Healing doesn't happen on demand. It unfolds slowly, in hesitant steps and stolen moments of peace. So when the character finally softens, when he lets his guard down and allows love to sit beside his grief instead of replacing it, it hits hard. Because it was earned. Because it felt like a victory not over trauma, but alongside it. And that makes the love story not just believable, but unforgettable. Love stories often end in kisses and promises, but real life, and some of the most emotionally resonant BL dramas, end with growth, with acceptance, with standing up after being broken. These shows remind us that letting go doesn't mean forgetting. That grief is just love with nowhere to go. And that healing is not about erasing pain, but learning how to carry it without letting it consume you. So tell me, which BL drama taught you something about loss? Which one helped you let go? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you felt something watching this, don't forget to subscribe. Because these aren't just stories, they're reflections of the things we carry and the love we fight to keep.